Hey guys, I wanted to walk you through some of the things that we can do for images to help out our search engine optimization, both for local and for organic. Today we're probably going to focus more on the local side, but if this was like a hyper-local strategy for us to be dominating the local market with whatever our niche is for a client or for our own business, images are a great way to help push us over the edge. Now, first things first, we need to remember with Google, we are always trying to prove three things: that we are who we say we are, that we do what we say we do, and we do it where we say we do it. And when I say prove it, I really mean validate it. And the reason I say that is because we tell Google specifically, we're going to use this company as an example for several things. I tell them specifically who I am. I'm Proscapes LLC in this example. I don't have any affiliation with this business, so I'm not trying to help them. I'm certainly not trying to pick on them in any way. I just randomly chose a landscaping company that's in a city near where I live. So I am who I say I am, that Proscapes LLC. I do what I say I do. I'm a lawn care service, and I do it where I say I do it in Athens, Georgia. So we're going to come back to this several times, but there are a lot of different ways that we can effectively prove that to Google or help validate that information to Google using images that are very optimized. So we're going to go through that today about how we should be optimizing our images. And so to do that, I'm going to take a worst case scenario of a stock image. You see that it's 23.3 megs, and I'm going to be trying to get that down as low as possible. So this is worst case scenario. We've got 23.3 megs, massive image. You see the dimensions down here. They're just huge. This would be a terrible image to put on our website in its current form. So it's perfect for us to use it as the example. So I'm going to download this. I have an account with them, so it's not like I'm stealing this or whatever. I don't recommend doing that ever. And we're going to say weed whacker picture. If you're not in the South and you don't know what a weed whacker is, it's basically, we also call it a weed eater, but regardless. All right, so I'm going to open this up in Photoshop. And if you don't have Photoshop, there's a bunch of different free image editors that you can use. But I'm just going to open this up. So first things first, if I go to my image dimensions, you see that this thing's huge, right? It's 7,300 by almost 5,000 pixels. You then see that the resolution, the dots per inch, the DPI, is set to 300. That's high definition. That's like a print quality photo that you could use this for. And so I don't want this. This thing is just massive. So first thing I'm going to do is change this to 72, and you see that already took down this a lot. So our original file size on this is 23.8 megs. We're going to see how low we can get this. So I'm going to take this down and just take it originally down to 72. And just by saving that, let's see what that does to our image size. So we just went from 23.8 to 1.5. So that's massive. That's a great change right there. Now, the next thing is I'm going to put this on the website, and I'm going to put it on here somewhere where, like, let's just say it's not needing to be as large as it is. So, for instance, like if I was going to use an image of this size, right? I don't actually need this to be 750. Sometimes you might legitimately need it. Like in this screenshot, you can click on it and you can see like it needs to be expanded so that you can see the fine details. But on other ones, you might not need that. Like this one, does this image need to be substantially larger than that? No, it doesn't need to be that big because I'm not really getting any new information from that on the website. So I don't need to have this image that large. We're going to assume that it's going to be something this size, and I'm just going to drop this in somewhere up here on this tutorial. But so the next thing that I need to know is like how big of an image size does it need to be? Well, it certainly doesn't need to be as big as it is. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a screen grab of about this size, and I'm going to use that to figure out what my dimensions are. So that came up. I'm just going to copy it. I'm using Snagit to do this. You can use any editor, whatever you want. And so when I hit new, it picks up that that's 530 by 358. So let's just assume that those are the dimensions. 538 is the image size that I need. We'll do 540 just to round it. So on this image, I still don't need it to be at 1700 of a width for pixel size. It's just much bigger than I need it to be. So I can use the 540 and readjust it, right? So remember, right now we're at 1.5, which is great. That's already down from 23.5, but let's get it even lower. So if I say 540, now I hit OK. Now I save it. Look at that. We're down to 275 kilobytes. That's a massive reduction, right? Another thing you can do, this was already a JPEG, but another thing you can do is if this was a PNG image, and you don't need it to be a PNG. In other words, it doesn't need to have a transparent background. If it does need to have a transparent background, obviously it needs to stay as a PNG. But if you don't need it to have a transparent background, which this one obviously doesn't, then changing it from a PNG to a JPEG will also reduce that file size. So this is a great way for us to immediately get that image size down into something that we can make more manageable for our website. So we just went from 23.3 megs down to 275K. So right out of the gate, that's awesome. That's a great reduction. Let's take a look at what we need to do next. So next thing that we want to do, and by the way, the reason we're minimizing the image size is so that we keep the page speed up. We want that page speed to just load really quickly. It's a key ranking indicator for Google. We just need it to load really quickly to enhance the user experience as much as possible. So having this massive 23.3 meg file would just slow the website down unnecessarily. We just don't need it to be that big. So 275K, awesome. That's fantastic. I'm really happy with that. So next we need to geotag the image, and we've got everything that you need to know about this is written out down here. But geotagging the image, the best way for me to explain this is if you ever think about going on let's assume that I went on vacation to New York City. If I'm in New York City and I'm using my phone to take a bunch of pictures of vacation and I have my location services turned on, then most people know that you can go into your photos in your phone, whether it's iOS or Android, and you can say, show me all the pictures that I took when I was in New York City. And the way that the phone knows how to retrieve just those images is because when you took those pictures, the phone by default is geotagging those images. It's actually writing in the EXIF data, which is just an exchangeable image file. It doesn't matter. It's the metadata of the image. It's writing in there the latitude and longitude coordinates of where you were when you took the picture. And so it can tell that that's in New York City, and so it knows that when you were, all of the latitude and longitude coordinates that were within a certain radius of each other, that's when you were on vacation. Well, Google can also read that. And so we're always trying to prove that we are who we say we are, we do what we say we do, and we do it where we say we do it. Well, can you imagine how much of a ranking signal, how much of a location signal it sends when I give an exact geo coordinates of my image? And so the same way that your phone would tag it, we can replicate that by writing it to a specific image. So we're going to take our image and we're going to copy. I've just copied where Sanford Stadium is in Athens, Georgia, because I'm going to use this stock photo that we just got, and I'm wanting to rank it in Athens, Georgia. Okay. So for this, I'm going to use their exact dimensions. I was going to use Sanford Stadium, but since I have it up already, I will just use theirs. So their office is at, if you look in the description, you'll see that's the latitude and that's the longitude. So I'm going to use GeoImager. You can also use GeoSetter. There's a couple of these free tools. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our image and I'm going to drag and drop it right over into GeoImager. And now I'm going to tell it that I want my latitude to be there. I want my longitude to be here. And now I can say, see where it says image description, it already picked that up. Portrait of a man working with a weed whacker. I don't want that. I might do Pro Scapes LLC best, and we'll say they are a lawn care service. So I will say best lawn care service in Athens, Georgia. Okay. Now I want to write these EXIF tags. Okay. So now it's geotagged. Now, before I download this, I want to show you something. If I look at the properties of this image and I go into details, you'll see portrait of man working with weed whacker, right? And it's got that a couple times. It's got some tags in here of these things that I don't necessarily need, but it just shows you a bunch of stuff about the image. There's no comments on it. There's a title and a subject of about a man, but there's really nothing. Like, it tells you what kind of picture it was taken or what kind of camera it was taken with. We don't need a lot of this stuff, but what it's missing is these latitude and longitude coordinates. It doesn't have those, right? So the reason that becomes important is because I'm going to take this now and download this, and I'm going to say, I'm going to name this one tagged. Now, if I go to the properties on this new one, go to the details, now I see Proscapes LLC, best lawn care service in Athens, Georgia. That's great. Now I see down here a new section called GPS. It's got our latitude and longitude coordinates exactly where we wanted them. That's what I was going for. That's awesome, right? So now we have a geotagged latitude and longitude coordinates, which helps to prove to Google that we do what we say we do and where we say we do it, most importantly. So that's fantastic. Now, while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and change something else about the comments, right? So I want to give the name, address, phone number, and website. If you remember, if you've done our local SEO training, that we call that a NAP, name, address, phone number, and we also add website to it now. But basically, I want it to be exactly as it appears on Google. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up Notepad, and I'm going to copy all this information into Notepad, and I'm going to say name, address, their phone number is 706-705-0181, and their website is proscapesllc.org. Okay, so now I've got this information, and I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to go back to my image. And where it says comments right here, I'm going to click in there. I'm just going to paste that. So now I've literally just created a citation directly on my image. What are we trying to prove? We are who we say we are. Well, I've got the name of the company right there. That we do what we say we do. Okay, it's a picture of a guy with a lawn service machine. We do it where we say we do it. Well, there's our address, right? So it's got a really good feel for who we are right here. So I'm going to hit OK on that. So now if I go back into my tagged image in the properties, did that hold? Yep. There's all my information. There's my lawn care. There's my GPS information. Fantastic. So we're in good shape so far. So we have already issued it the correct dimensions. We got it down from 23 point whatever 3 megs down to now you see that it's only up to 278K. And by the way, we added data to the metadata, and so yes, it did increase the file size from 275 to 278. That's okay. That's why I did the compression first, so I didn't strip out any of the information. We'll come back to that, but we've gotten the correct dimensions. We've geotagged our image. We've added our name, address, phone number, and website information to the properties. Now it's time to set the file name correctly. What we want to do is we want to have a general naming convention of our keyword and then our location that we're targeting. And you want to set this up to where if we were doing our landing page, our home page for their site, I want to have at least as many images as I have GMB categories, because the GMB categories are the most important keywords. If you only have one or two of the GMB categories, like let's just say this was a chiropractor and your only two categories were chiropractor and like holistic medicine or something like that, then you need at least 2 images. Okay. If you had 5 categories, then you need at least 5 images. In this case, I think they have quite a few just because I've done some research on this before this video. And so we're going to take a couple of examples away from them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. And if you've seen our other videos, you already know how to do this. I'm going to load their page. I'm going to use my GMB Spy Chrome extension. And look at there. we've already got all of our, well, let me do that again since I had to move my smiling face out of the way. There's all my services. We already knew about lawn care service because that's the primary, but here's all of our secondary. They have more secondary categories than I like, not to get off topic because I want to stick to images, but I normally max this out around 5, and so I would get rid of gardener, I'd probably get rid of mulch supplier and maybe even tree service depending on what they do. Basically, I would take the top 5 categories of whatever it is they really do with their business. What are the biggest drivers of business? And I prioritize them. The biggest driver of revenue, I would make their primary. And then for their secondaries, I would make like, what is the biggest part of our business that we're trying to promote? And I do it in order. So I would get rid of some of these, but let's say we got this down to 5. We would need at least 5 images on their website. For the purpose of this video, we're not going to do all 5 because it's the exact same process. We're just going to do that top one of lawn care service. So you see how lawn care service is written out as lawn care service. It's not lawn care. It's not lawn care services. It is lawn care service. We're going to take that exact term, lawn care service, and we're going to name our image that. Where are they trying to rank? Well, Athens, Georgia. Okay, 30605. So I am going to take my image and I am going to name it. We're going to say lawn care service, Athens, Georgia. Now, I would not need to replicate these. So like if I was going to do the next one was, let's just say the next one was landscaper, I wouldn't need to repeat lawn care service or Athens or Georgia. So my next one might be their zip code, which for them was 30605. So I might do landscaper dash 30605 dash Georgia spelled out, something like that. Another way to do it might be landscaper, and then I might do the county that they're in. So I might do landscaper dash Clark dash county dash Georgia. So I don't need to repeat main keywords or anything like that. So really try to stretch that out as much as you can so you can cover as many of your primary and secondary categories as possible, as well as locations. But for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to beat that too much. This is now my naming convention. Lawn care service, which is identical to the way that it's listed out in Google, and then Athens, Georgia, which is exactly where they're trying to rank. So now I've got it named correctly, okay? So I've been able to set the correct dimensions, geotag it, add the NAP information. Now I've set the file name correctly. Now I need to upload the image to my site. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a third little column right here. You're going to see my image editor that I'm using right here. This is a Joomla site, and I'm using SP Page Builder for this. So here, whatever your interface is going to look a little bit different. Doesn't matter. I'm going to upload an image. And I'm going to just drag and drop my lawn care service, Athens, Georgia. Okay. So now we've uploaded the image to the site. We do see that it kept the naming convention of lawn-care-service-Athens-GA. Next thing that I need to do is set my alternate tags. Now, alternate tags, if we come down here, we'll see that if I inspect this image, alternate tags were originally made for blind people, for browsers for the blind. And so you'll see in here that this says alt GMB categories, right? So the reason that it was originally made for blind people is because obviously blind people can't see the picture and Google can't read images. With the artificial intelligence algorithms of today, they're getting much better at it. But when alt tags were originated, there was no such thing. And so Google just couldn't read a picture on your website. And so it had to have a way to read to a blind visitor, what is that picture? Give a way for them to have some context of what that image is trying to convey. And so alternate tags is what they would read. That's not really important to today of what we're doing, but what it means is Google started figuring out that that stuff was important. So the file name tells me a lot about it, and then the alternate tag also tells me a lot about it. And so what I want to do is we don't want to just keyword stuff the crap out of the alternate tag, but I can use it for low-hanging fruit. So what I'll do is I'll come down here and I'll say, okay, so on my alternate tag, I'm going to say that I want it to be lawn care service, Athens, Georgia. That's my keyword search. So I might say voted top lawn care service in Athens, Georgia, right? That's basically what I'm doing. I'm not overly stuffing these keywords, and if I'm doing my naming convention correctly, a lot of times the alternate tags will very, very closely mimic the naming convention. So that's my alternate text, right? Now, just to touch on something real quick while we're in this interface, a lot of people make the mistake of having an image like this. We'll use this example again. They'll have an image like this, and what they're doing is they're telling it, hey, I want you to just fit in this box. Or this is going back to compressing the image dimensions. Or they'll say, only load this to be at 350. And they'll do that by setting the height and the width. I can, instead of doing that, we just set it correctly so that it's not loading this huge image, but then shrinking it down for the browser. So just to revisit that for a second, I don't have to set that because I already set my image dimensions correctly, okay? So, and we'll come back to that in a second, but we want to avoid just using height and width if there's not a reason we need a bigger image. So this is good. I'll say that we're allowed to open this in a lightbox. That is what this does. And basically from here, I'm in good shape. I've named my image correctly. I've uploaded it. I've set my alternate tags correctly. And I'm in good shape. So now I will say, save that. I'll come back over here, and we should have a third column. And we do. Okay, so now instead of our image on this example, we see how big it is. This is a very large image. And I even say, does this image need to be this large? No, it doesn't. There's no reason for it. If you click on this one, you see that it's just the dimensions of what we created. So this image is slowing down the page speed far less than this big image. It's a way for us to keep the page speeds high if I don't need to zoom in on this. There's no extra detail. You don't gain anything out of zooming in on this image. So in reality, I would probably take the lightbox out of this. I'm just doing it to show you the image dimensions. But like on this one, yeah, you do get some benefit of being able to read it easier and see some of the markup. But so I might keep that one the right size, but this one I don't need it to be that large, and I also don't need you to be able to zoom in on it. So I would turn lightbox off on this, but for the purpose of this video, I'll just leave it on. So what have we done? Well, we've set our correct dimensions. We've geotagged the image with our latitude and longitude coordinates. We've added our name, address, and phone number properties to the image. We've set our file name correctly. We've uploaded it to the site. We've set our alternate tags. How do we know if any of this stuff worked? Well, I'm just going to open that image in a new tab, and I'm going to copy this entire set, and I'm going to go to Metapix, and I'm going to tell it, go find me everything I need to know. Well, check this out. So, what kind of information do we have? Well, there's our description. Proscapes LLC, best lawn care service in Athens. Latitude and longitude, that 33 and the 83. And if we look back, it matches the latitude and longitude coordinates of their business listing. So this is great. This is a fantastic start for what we've got going on here. This is our comment. It has all of our name, address, phone number information in it. So our image is now a proper size. It is geotagged. It's loading, it's loading quickly because its dimensions are correct. It's not, a high definition photo when it doesn't need to be. It's geotagged, so we've proven that we do what we say we do, where we say we do it. We've added our name, address, phone number, website information, our file name, Lawn Care Service, Athens, Georgia. Our alternate tag, if I inspect this one, our alternate tag right here, voted top lawn care service in Athens, GA. So we have now set this image to be as effective as possible for us, optimizing it for our SEO. So the next thing that we would need to do is basically repeat this process of uploading it to our Google business listing and our other properties. Obviously, I don't have control of this Google business listing because I'm just doing this as an example. But if I did, I would certainly be uploading it into my photos. We're going to touch on the way that you upload, kind of the tricks that you do for your GMB listing in another video, as well as some of the other properties. So for our on-page optimization of this image, we're in really good shape here. It's a fantastic way for us to help prove who we are, what we do, and where we do it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's time consuming, but I promise you it's worth it. Worth it for two reasons. If you're doing this for a site that you're trying to rank and maybe it's your business, it's a great way to differentiate your site with your competitors. Again, remember, if we were doing 5 GMB categories, I would have at least 5 images on this page, and every one of them would be targeting a secondary keyword after this one. So the next ones, would be my additional GMB categories. I would do the exact same process. If I'm trying to rank for 4, I would have at least 4 images. If I only have 2, I would still probably have 5 images, 4 or 5 images. I would just use keywords that I'm trying to rank for instead of GMB categories after the first 2. Hope that makes sense, but you would just, pack more of these photos done the same way into your page and make it fit as needed. So that's our on-page optimization. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.